Abukari Tongo Kofi, and my Christian name is Bernard. And I'm in to educate my colleagues drivers and the learners drivers how they're supposed to operate the automobile to save lives and properties. So today our topic supposed to be introduction to driving. We'll look at what we mean by driving. We'll look at who is a driver is. We'll look at the driver's attitude. Then we'll come to look at the fitness to drive. We'll look at the driver's psychology. Then after that, we'll look at defensive driver. Defensive driver. So this is the subtopics under the introductions of driving. So let us begin with what is driving. Somebody may ask, what is driving at all? Driving simply refers to the act of operating automobile from one destination to another destination. So the operator of this automobile is known as a driver. Who is a driver? A driver is a person who operates an automobile from one destination to another destination. Not just the mere operator of the automobile, but someone who understands the language on the road. So for you and I to be able to operate the automobile effectively on the road without road crashes, then there is a need for us to know the attitude of the drivers on the road or other attitude of road users so that we will be able to operate the automobile very well without crashing with any of these hazard or road users. So let's look at the driver's attitude. Driver's attitude simply refers to the behavioral aspect of a driver. And why are we learning the driver's attitude? Somebody may ask, I just come to learn how to drive. Why are you taking me through driver's attitude? Yes, it is very necessary for you to know the behaviors of your colleague drivers before you hit the road or before you set on the road. So that a particular attitude of your colleague driver should not be something new to you for you to panic and crash with other vehicle or fall into the gutter or crash with any other road users. So it is necessary for you to know the attitude of your colleagues drivers so that it will help you to know their intention, their actions on the road. So let's look at the types of drivers' attitude. We have two basic types of drivers' attitude. Types of drivers' attitude. Types of driver's attitude. There are two basic types of driver's attitude. One is innate attitude, and the second one is acquired attitude. With the innate attitude is also known as what? Inborn attitude, and acquired attitude is known as the learned attitude. With the innate attitude, it is the type of behavior that the drivers inherit from their parents' genes. And with the acquired attitude is a type of behavior that the drivers or road users or everybody learn from their colleagues, friends, brothers and sisters, or other teachers or lecturers. So we are going to look at them one after the other, the innate attitude and the acquired attitude. So we'll pick the innate attitude first. So as I define the innate attitude, I said with the innate attitude, it is the type of behavior that the person inherits from the parents' genes. So the behaviors that we inherit from our parents' genes can also be put into two. So means we have types of innate attitude. There are two basic types of innate attitude. One is either positive and then negative. The positive attitude is known as the good aspect, and the negative is known as the bad aspect. So in this universe, every road user have two basic types of innate attitude, either positive or negative. And there is no one in this universe who can confidently boast that me, I was born with only good attitude throughout, or me, I was born with only bad attitude throughout. And there is no one in this universe who can also confidently boast that me, I learned only good attitude on the road or only bad attitude on the road. As the sayings go, behaviors or attitude are like pregnancy. They can never hide themselves. So once we are on the road, definitely this attitude will exhibit themselves. So if the good attitude of the innate overshow itself, it will result other people into an accident. And if the bad attitude also overshow itself, it will result other road users or the operator of the automobile into an accident. So what can we do? So we decided to prepare what we call driver's code. The driver's code is not like my office code I put on. It is another mindset we want to put at the back of every road user or at the back of every operator of the automobile. So that when he is sitting behind the steering wheel, he put that attitude at the back of his mind. And that is what we call the driver's code. Driver's code. The code, the C stands for concentration. And then the O stands for observation. And the A stands for anticipation. And the T stands for tolerance. Now, let's look at concentration. Concentration here simply refers to the driver having peace of mind sitting by the steering wheel to be able to take decisions to save lives and property on the road. And there are some few things that will make the driver to lose concentration. One is when the driver is drunk, he may lose concentration. When he's talking unnecessarily with occupants of the vehicle, like passengers, he may lose concentration. When he's stressful, he's not supposed to drive. When he's tired, he's not supposed to drive. When he's feeling sleepy, he's not supposed to drive. When he's drunk, he's not supposed to drive. When he's tired, he's not supposed to drive. All these things are things that will make the driver to lose concentration on the road. So when the driver loses concentration, observation becomes poor. What are we observing? We are to observe what we call hazard. And hazard are things that are likely to cause injury or harm. They may either be solid or liquid. So the whole operating of automobile based on hazard management. So every driver sitting behind the steering wheel will be able to operate it effectively or very well if only his observation is good on the road. When his observation is good, he will be able to scan, to observe, to see the hazard. And having looked at what we mean by the hazard, let's look at the types of hazard. Hazard. There are two basic types of hazard. We have the potential hazard and actual hazard. With the potential hazard, they are things that are likely to cause injury or harm. And with the actual hazard, that one, whatever the driver do, it will definitely cause the accident or a harm to others. So we're going to pick them one after the other. So let's look at the potential hazard. As I said earlier on, potential hazard are things that are likely to cause injury or harm. So as a good driver or defensive driver, you need to be able to scan the road several times within 1 to 2 to 3 seconds to be able to observe the positions of these hazards. With the potential hazard, we also have types of the potential hazard. And under the types of potential hazard, we can talk of the moving hazard, the stationary hazard, temporal hazard, and permanent hazard. With the moving hazard, they are movable objects that are likely to cause injury or harm on the road. So, example of moving hazard: pedestrian, motorists, cyclists, your own college drivers, or any movable object on the road can be classified as a moving hazard. And every driver is supposed to observe to see this moving hazard, and they would tell him whether to slow down or reposition himself or change direction or stop. When the driver sees this hazard or observe this hazard, and fails to reduce his speed or slow down or change direction or stop, the next thing is to crash with the hazard, which we don't want it at all. Crashing with the hazard means what? An accident on the road. So anytime a driver fails to apply the slowing down, changing of direction, stopping after observing the hazard, the fourth thing is to crash with it. Now, have a look at what we mean by the moving hazard. Let's look at the stationary hazard. Stationary hazard simply refers to the type of potential hazard which is stationed on the side and side of the road. They are not permanent, they are there for a while. After some short period, they may be moved away from that side. For example, a car parked on the side of the road for a while, or to pick a passenger or to alight a passenger, can be classified as a stationary hazard. And you, the driver, need to observe it and then know where to reposition your vehicle or slow down or to stop. For it to move, then you also continue. Then we talk of the temporal hazard. With the temporal hazard, they are like the stationary hazard, but slight difference. The difference is that we use a time frame to define the temporal hazard and the stationary hazard. With the temporal hazard, they are on the road for a longer period. Some of them may take 2 months, 3 months. As a matter of fact, some may even take 1 year. They are still temporal hazard. For example, when there is a construction going on the road, we may put the construction equipment on the side and side of the road, gravels, chippings, and so on the side of the road. They becomes a temporal hazard. After the construction, then that particular hazard will be moved away from that place. So as a driver, when you observe and see that this is a temporal hazard, then what you need to do is slow down, change direction, or stop, or reposition your car to another direction. Then we talk of permanent hazard. Permanent hazard are on the road 24/7. For them, they use the road as their home. For example, steep hill upwards, steep hill downwards, sharp curve to the right, sharp curve to the left, bend right, bend left. So they are all permanent hazard. They are on the road 24/7. So you, the driver, need to observe to see and identify that this is a permanent hazard. And for that matter, how you're supposed to reposition your vehicle without falling or crashing with the permanent hazard. So that is what we mean by potential hazard. So in short, potential hazard have 4 basic types of potential hazard, which is a moving, stationary, temporal, and permanent. And driver need to observe them in order to slow down, change direction, or stop. Failure to slow down, change direction, or stop, then the next thing is to crash with it, which is not good at all. Then have a look at this. Let's look at actual hazard. With the actual hazard, that one, whatever the driver do, it will definitely cause an accident. The only alternative the driver have is to use 2 to 3 seconds to determine or scan the environment and make a decision to save the majority life. For example, a driver who failed to do his routine checks or failure to do maintenance may experience challenges on the road. The vehicle may disown him or fail to perform its responsibility on the road, and that may bring an actual hazard on the road. For example, a driver who wakes up and failed to do his maintenance was on a highway with a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. Unexpected, 3 children were crossing him. He stepped on the brake failed him. He pulled handbrake, the handbrake also failed him. When he turned to the right, he is going to fall into a big valley, and he, the driver, will die, and he is the only one occupant in the car. If you go to the right, inner lane side, he is going to crash with a big truck, and about 20 people there will die. If you allow the vehicle to go further, he is going to kill about 3 people there. He stepped on the brake failed him. He pulled handbrake also failed him. What do you think these drivers should do? This is a clear example of an actual hazard. And with this type of actual hazard, I will strongly advise my colleagues drivers and the learners drivers on the road. In that situation, scan the environment. You have 2 to 3 seconds to make up a decision to save the majority life. So you look at where you go to kill one in order to save the 23 life. And that will still make you a defensive driver. So that is what we mean by actual hazard. So in a situation where a driver meets the actual hazard, he should not panic with it at all because he is the cause of it. He, the driver, is the cause of it. So the only alternative for him to do to manage this actual hazard is to scan the environment and use less than 2 to 3 seconds to make a decision that can save the majority life. And having looked at the various types of hazard that we were talking about, potential and actual, now let's look at anticipation. If my observation is good, it helps me to be able to think ahead and know the actions of my colleagues drivers. And that will also help me to make a better decision to save lives and property. For example, when I observe that there is a side road, what should be my anticipation? My anticipation is that a vehicle may be coming from that direction. So what do you think I should do? I'll slow down, observe. If that vehicle is not there, then I proceed. It doesn't spoil anything. That vehicle coming from the side road, he will also anticipate that there may be a vehicle on the major road. So he also stop, slow down, stop, watch left and right. If the vehicle is not on the major road, then he also proceed. 1 to 2, 3 seconds doesn't spoil anything. When you do so, you'll be able to save lives and property. So observation helps us to have a very good anticipation. Poor observation makes us to have poor anticipation. And having looked at this, let's look at tolerance. Tolerance means what? Having patience. Every driver needs to have patience, but sometimes it is not easy. We may meet difficult or aggressive drivers on the road. That will make you not to also have patience. But for me, I normally tell my learners drivers and my college drivers, as soon as I get behind the steering wheel, I have a greater responsibility to perform. And my greater responsibility is I value every life on the street. And I make sure that every life on the street must be protected. So I use myself, I am the only sensible person to be able to protect every life on the street because I am the one holding their life on my palm, sitting beside the steering wheel. So I have the power to control the vehicle, to stop, to kill, and I must value the lives and every property on the road. So what I do is, anyone on the road, I take them to be an insane people. And it is my responsibility to protect them. So I need not to get angry with my colleagues drivers, with my pedestrians, animals on the road. So always I take it like I have the greater responsibility to save their life. So I need not to think for them. I need to think a way that will be able to save their life and save my life and protect other properties on the street. Because as a saying goes, on the driver's attitude, behaviors are like pregnancy, one can never hide on the road. Sometimes you may get angry because there is no one in this universe who can confidently boast that me, I've never gotten angry before. But there is one thing that one can use to manage his anger when you are sitting behind the steering wheel. Consider yourself to be the most sensible and responsible person sitting behind the steering wheel. And consider every life on the street to be very important and every property on the street to be very important. But the main thing is that one must think of saving the life first before thinking of the property. So when I think of saving the life first, I must make sure that I scan the environment 2 to 3 seconds and see the reactions of the actions of my colleague drivers or other road users, and know what to do, either to slow down or to change direction or to stop for them, because I have the power to control the automobile vehicle, not the automobile vehicle that controls me. So I must control it to save life. And the reason why I consider myself to be the sensible person among all other road users is that I hold a greater life in my palm as I operate the automobile. Even if you are a driver walking on the street, you cannot be a Superman to come and sit by the steering wheel and control it for me. It is me that have to control the automobile to save that life and property on that street. So I consider every person on the street to be insane. So if a mad person cross me or insult me, there is no need for me to get angry with that mad person. I just need to smile with him, wave him, and then look at a way to save his life and save my own life and protect the property and embark on my journey again. Sometimes I see my colleague drivers get angry with some of the aggressive drivers. They'll block the road, start insulting each other. As a matter of fact, some of them even try to exchange blows to each other, which is very terrible. So for me, when you behave rude or aggressive way towards me, I consider you as an insane or a mad person. And I have to think better to save your life and save my life and protect my property. So that is the end of this episode. Keep on watching my YouTube channel, share, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much.